I've reconfigured the VAR in her office, this time with lower sound quality to extend recording time. If she intends to meet him, she might make a call from her office either today or tomorrow. While I believe she's truthful about not planning to see him, mere speculation isn't reassuring enough for me at the moment. I rely on the VAR to provide confirmation. I appreciate your words. I'm hopeful that your assessment is incorrect, but the uncertainty persists for me at this point. One advantage I have is that she used to be quite ineffective at covering her tracks. While I've imparted some wisdom to make her more astute, I haven't revealed all my strategies just yet. I suppose I'm optimistic that I won't need to employ them. I came across an email in which she instructed him to call her work phone, emphasizing its safety in her office. She's unaware that I've seen that email. I've never openly checked her work phone in her office in her presence. Currently, she likely believes it's still secure, and indeed it would be if not for the VAR. Regarding the possibility of another man, it's conceivable, but I lack any evidence to support it. Reflecting on the situation, I can discern a shift in her behavior since she met this particular individual. I haven't observed similar changes before. While there's no definitive way to ascertain the absence of another person, I don't sense that there was. In response to the suggestion, set the VAR at 44K and use long-life lithium batteries. What does 44K mean? Oh, disregard that. It refers to the bit rate. Initially I attempted it with the SAQ setting, and now I'm using SP. The VAR has ratings for LP, SP, HQ and SHQ. If my batteries run out once more, I'll invest in higher quality ones. That sounds like a good plan, and her narrative keeps evolving. The initial account goes like this. I met him in Boston in September at a hotel bar restaurant. I empathized with his struggles in his troubled marriage, and we ended up having sex on the second night. Our emotional affair began when I attempted to assist him with his marital issues. We had another sexual encounter in Raleigh in mid-October, and we planned to meet for SCX in DC in early November. However, everything unraveled when I was caught on November 1st. I sent him one text after my discovery, informing him that I found out. Since then, we've had no contact. He was my first and only affair. Now, the updated version of the story is met in Boston in late September. We had a conversation at the bar on the first night. She claimed to have left the next day for Atlanta. I will verify this through Delta records to confirm. No physical affair occurred during this time. Our communication continued via phone, marking the beginning of an emotional affair. We met in my city for lunch in early October, and then in Raleigh for both a meeting and a sexual encounter in mid-October. There were plans to meet in early November in DC for another sexual encounter. However, I discovered her actions on November 1st. Following my discovery, there was just one text, and then complete radio silence. No contact since then. He is her first and only affair. What in the world? She claimed not to remember what she meant when she mentioned that a physical affair occurred in Boston. In some ways, the updated narrative seems more coherent. She has never been promiscuous, or at least that was the case. It aligns with her need for an emotional connection before engaging in a physical relationship, providing a more plausible explanation for why he is her first and only affair. But seriously, why the initial story in the first place? And he was in my city. Ugh, I can't even feel safe here. I had a dream recently where he came to my house to apologize. In the dream, I nearly attacked him with my fists. I woke up from that dream with a sense of satisfaction. 17th day post-D-Day. Didn't get much sleep last night. Weight 2. Total loss of 18 lbs. Facing devastation, I'm uncertain how one can adequately prepare. In our discussion last night regarding the book and its application, I sought more details about the story. Condoms were used, and the physical aspect began in Raleigh. In Raleigh, she confessed her love to him. He had cheated on his wife once before, my wife. They met for lunch near the airport, exchanged a hug, and engaged in flirtation without any physical contact. During this lunch, plans were made for their meeting in Raleigh. Given his frequent travel across various locations, my wife expressed surprise that he didn't attempt to contact her after receiving her text. She speculated that he might have moved on to the next person. She expresses love and desire for me, sharing that she felt as if she were living in a movie. Her inclination to help people, which initially began with assisting him in his troubled marriage, led to the start of an emotional affair during their conversations. Throughout this, she has been longing for a deeper emotional connection with me. Regretful and apologetic, she wishes the events had never taken place and acknowledges feeling undeserving of me. Surprisingly, she conveys understanding, stating that she would comprehend if I had sought comfort elsewhere because she felt incapable of making me happy. Now she's determined to fight for our relationship. While I am aware that it could all be a facade, in her presence she comes across as genuinely sincere. Despite the love I still hold for her, the weight of her actions continues to weigh heavily on me. The unknown and potential consequences terrify me. She departs for Boston today, and I'll be monitoring the VAR tonight. I previously mentioned contacting her early on. To clarify, I reached out to the wrong person, who was already going through a divorce. Later, I located the correct individual. I sent her a text, left a Facebook message, and mailed her a physical letter. Unfortunately, I received no response. On the day of discovery, with my wife watching, I sent an email to the other man. The message read, "Hi, this is husband. Sorry your marriage sucks. Thanks for ruining mine." I sent this before she sent her final text to him. We didn't undergo STD testing, and I realize it was a mistake. I don't document every conversation with her. I've reiterated to her multiple times that I'm uncertain about continuing the marriage. She understands that if I contract anything, it could be the end of our relationship. I am not willing to overlook or forgive the situation. I conveyed to her that the woman I married feels like a distant memory, and I'm unsure if I want to be with the person in front of me. She went through how to help your spouse heal after your affair, and afterwards we discussed aspects I felt she wasn't addressing, including her narrative. I've maintained a strong stance in our discussions. However, I do believe she's taking steps that aren't commonly seen in other accounts. Time will tell. This is not a recovery story at this point. It's still a story of just discovering the affair. I had individual counseling today with the marriage counselor. I shared my skepticism about her narrative and expressed how I feel blameless in her affair. The counselor did not counter my perspective. In the upcoming marriage counseling session, we will delve into discussing her version of events. She'll be back from Boston tomorrow, and we have a date scheduled for Friday, 19th day post-D-Day. Weight 2, totaling a loss of 20 lbs. My abs are beginning to reappear. Losing 20 lbs in 19 days isn't healthy. I need to start eating again. She returns home today. There's not much else to share about our situation today. I find it challenging to read other people's stories. At times, I contemplate whether a marriage can truly endure for an extended period without facing affairs. It's disheartening because it's something I never wanted. She seems to be avoiding confronting the issue. I have concrete evidence. I'm uncertain about the reason behind her actions. Is it to shield me? To avoid being labeled as promiscuous, or perhaps to protect the relationship with the other man? I'm still in the dark on this matter. 22nd day post-D-Day. I managed to sleep last night. Hooray! One notable point from our conversation struck me. She had no fear of me discovering her affair. She felt entirely secure in it, knowing when I would be away for work, aware that I didn't check her phone or email, and familiar with my calling pattern. She never contemplated the potential harm to me or considered the consequences of being caught because she believed it would never happen. However, I did catch her, and that was the first time she truly contemplated the impact on me. It was her way of adding excitement to monotonous business trips. Consequences didn't cross her mind at the time. Now she is utterly devastated and harbors a deep self-loathing for the pain she inflicted on me and our family. The affair spanned 7 weeks. If I hadn't caught her sooner, I wonder if there might have been a chancey for recovery. 24th day post D-Day. Yesterday at work, I experienced a panic attack, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I reached out to her, but her response didn't offer much solace. She couldn't understand why I put myself through such distress, as if I chose to dwell on thoughts of her and him. Even now, 12 hours after the attack, I still feel a bit shaky. She's eager to move on and forget, but I'm skeptical of the possibility. Since our recent conversation, she's appeared somewhat distant. While she doesn't outright deny it, she claims to be busy. With my daughter off from school today, I'm taking the car with me to listen to the recordings from the past 2 days. Next week, we both have business trips, albeit in different locations, she to Boston and I to Nebraska. This situation is incredibly challenging. Oh no, I picked up something on the VAR. I fear it might be the end for us. The primary thing I heard, I might have overreacted to. She wasn't conversing with him. 2 other aspects remain uncertain. I require additional evidence to either convict or exonerate. The VAR is set to resume on Monday. She departs on Tuesday, and I leave on Wednesday. We both return home on Friday. I don't enjoy playing the role of a detective against my wife. I revisited everything in my search, but I couldn't uncover anything concrete. I only have a few words on the VAR that might be inconsequential or could be significant. I need the time to listen again and document it properly. Unfortunately, with the holiday, time is limited right now. The primary issue was her complaining about my response to the marriage counseling and my reluctance to acknowledge my depression. She also mentioned how I compelled her to share the story. Initially, I thought she was conversing with him, but I've since realized it was a female friend. I also discovered her lie about not confiding in anyone. I insisted, and she admitted to telling her friend without revealing the VAR. This led to an extensive conversation about trust and her pattern of dishonesty. I hold deep love for her. I cherish the life we built together and our family. She possesses qualities of compassion, love, fun, self-confidence, success, and beauty. I had complete trust in her. Whenever friends spoke of marital struggles, I would say, I guess I got lucky. The only lacking aspect for me was intimacy. She didn't have a desire for me. Then came D-Day, and my perception of my wife shattered. Now I'm grappling with understanding the woman who sleeps in my bed. We have a family and a home. If I choose to divorce, there's no turning back. It's a unilateral decision, and yes, I've been through a divorce before. This is my second marriage. A deal-breaker in the affair scenario would be if there were more than one affair or a history of affairs. At present, a deal-breaker would be her seeing him or evidence of her planning to meet him. If I caught her conversing with him but without plans to see him, then I'm uncertain. It might also be a deal-breaker. I came across emails from her boss and hotel reservations. Her boss is coming, and they are sharing a 2-bedroom hotel room due to hotel occupancy. I saw the emails, and it's all above board. It's worth noting that her boss is female. I admit to snooping regularly, but I never find anything. Her boss is due to arrive at midnight on Tuesday, and she's scheduled to get in at 4. She willingly shared that a co-worker from the Boston office, female, might take her into the city upon her arrival. Alternatively, she might have dinner with a much older partner in the firm, male. She inquired about the second option. I expressed my discomfort and told her that regardless of his age, I'm not comfortable with her being alone with a man. She asked if it would be acceptable if his wife joined, but I stuck to my initial response, and she respected it. She is currently at the grocery store. I checked her email, and it aligns with what she mentioned. The partner has some business questions, and they don't have another time to meet. She is going to a client and not the main office where the partner is located. He invited her to dinner and suggested that his wife might join them. I also found the co-worker's email about going into the city. While I don't elaborate much on it, she does sound remorseful to me. She detests seeing me hurt. We had a productive marriage counseling session today. I openly told the therapist, with her present, that I felt she was still in contact with him and keeping him as an option. In response, she hugged me and affirmed that she only wants me, expressing remorse for hurting me and breaking our trust. She assured me that she will never talk to him again. Today, I inquired whether she was wearing her wedding ring when they first met. She confirmed that she was, stating that she always wears it except when at the gym. I further asked if she had it on when he visited here, and she affirmed yes. The same applied to when she saw him in Raleigh. It's perplexing how there seems to be no sense of guilt during the affair. I've come across similar sentiments in questions posed by both betrayed spouses and wayward spouses, and my wayward spouse echoed the same sentiment. Several years ago, I visited a strip club, and I was physically shaking during a lap dance due to overwhelming guilt. Since that experience, I haven't returned to one. I'll be in Nebraska this week, and part of me is considering going to a strip club. My wife is aware that I occasionally snoop. She's fine with it, and has given me permission to look at anything I want at any time. When I've snooped in her presence, I focused on scanning through emails, specifically looking for his name or anything else that seemed suspicious. I intentionally skipped over obvious work-related emails, and I don't think she would realize that I would read those on my own. Last night, she discussed my concerns about her still being in contact with him. She clarified that the affair was never about replacing me or ending our marriage. She never believed that he was superior to me in any aspect. She acknowledged having certain personality traits where she feels a sense of accomplishment when she helps others. Many of her friends face challenges, and she sees herself as the stabilizing force that aids them in feeling better. Becoming their source of support and assistance fulfills. The other man was broken, his marriage was a disaster, and he stayed married solely for the sake of the kids. She found satisfaction in making him happy, and he, in turn, made her the focal point of his happiness. That was what she was lacking and sought in the affair. I, on the other hand, am not broken, don't require assistance, and seldom seek help. She isn't the sole source of my happiness. So she was with him because he fulfilled something missing for her. It brought her joy to bring happiness to him. However, she never preferred him over me, viewing the two relationships as entirely separate entities that didn't influence each other. Now that the fog has lifted in her mind, she recognizes the gravity of her actions and is genuinely sorry for the pain she caused me. Her own needs. She regrets that she can't change the past, lacking a time machine. She has no need or desire for him, and she doesn't communicate with him, nor does she wish to. In the aftermath of D-Day, during her subsequent trip, she was apprehensive that he might appear, but she had no desire to see him, and he didn't show up. I've been transparent with her about my tendency to snoop, and she has no issue with it. I acknowledged being thorough, but also acknowledged that there are ways to conceal things from me. She expressed that she lacks the energy or inclination to go to great lengths to hide things. She wasn't cautious during the affair, evident in her open communication on her cell phone, LinkedIn, and an exposed suitcase filled with lingerie. Concealing things isn't her forte. Today, I'm feeling more positive about her and our relationship, and it's noteworthy that we didn't even engage in intimacy last night. I've reached out to the other man's wife through text, Facebook messages, and even sent physical mail, but she hasn't responded. Despite my efforts, I can't comprehend why my message wouldn't have reached her. I suspect she might be avoiding the situation by burying her head in the sand. As a stay-at-home mum with a senior in high school and one in college, She doesn't seem to have any apparent hobbies or a noticeable online presence. Every picture I've come across portrays her as unhappy and reliant on him and her children. She resides approximately 1,500 miles away from me. I might consider reaching out to her friends, or possibly the individuals who commented on her older Facebook posts. In response to the suggestion, have a PI deliver it to their home and out her bastard husband to all the Facebook friends. Your wife's reaction to that will let you know if she really never wants to see him again. She should care about you, not him. Her response to me informing his wife is acceptable. She didn't express any objections, and she would have done it herself if I had requested. I have spoken to him about it, but I haven't brought it up with her yet. I'm awaiting the right time or moment to do so. Tonight, I plan to request her to enable location services on her phone, allowing me to track her whereabouts. However, this may not hold much significance, considering she'll be at a hotel and she could easily turn off the feature or leave her phone behind. It's more symbolic than anything. Additionally, I have the voice-activated recorder, VAR, recording today. I'm currently attending a training class at a local hotel. She kindly suggested meeting for lunch, which was a thoughtful gesture. Unfortunately, due to timing constraints, it didn't quite work out. I have a suspicion that she is still communicating with him, despite her assurances that she is not. Is it paranoia on my part? I don't know. Is it a gut feeling? I don't know. Primarily, it's based on the notion that if I were in his position, I wouldn't easily give up on talking to her. I believe there's merit in the idea that it shouldn't be this easy for it to be over. I've composed an email to the other man. Hi, other man, aka dickhead. This is wayward spouse's husband. Sorry your marriage sucks. Thanks for ruining mine. Subsequently, she allegedly sent him a single text stating, my husband found out. I can't talk to you again. Don't worry. I didn't personally see this text. However, based on phone records, I observed that she did send a single text from her phone at the right time, and there was no reply from his phone to hers. I've questioned her multiple times about the content of the message to check if her narrative would alter, but it has remained consistent. According to her account, it seems unlikely that this should have been sufficient for him to cease contact with her. Nevertheless, she maintains that this is what transpired, and she, too, finds it surprising. She shared with me that he disclosed she was his second affair, and he almost divorced after the first one, but they chose to stay together for the sake of their adopted kids from abusive homes. Facebook evidence aligns with this narrative. Additionally, he experienced a significant accident earlier this year that nearly claimed his life, a fact supported by both Facebook and newspaper evidence. Perhaps he was apprehensive about the email I sent. Is it plausible that he quickly retreated to safeguard his marriage? Receiving a reply from the other man's wife would provide me with much-needed reassurance. I've diligently searched for a second phone and scoured every conceivable place multiple times, yet I never find any evidence. I'm uncertain about how to handle this suspicion, apart from the actions I've been taking. While everything doesn't appear right, I'm unable to uncover concrete evidence. To address this uncertainty, I posed questions and meticulously recorded notes to construct a timeline. 8 days ago, I had a moment of distress triggered by the words captured on a voice-activated recorder, VAR, in her office. For clarity, denotes words I couldn't comprehend and signifies a break in time on the recorder. Additionally, bear in mind that there were individuals working in the backyard on landscaping, and it appears that the VAR omitted some content. Well, I need to know about that for if I ever go out. She softly laughed. Interesting. Yeah, it's not the same. Tires. Okay, bye. This was directed to me. Phone beep. So impressed. Yes, thank you so much. I just don't want to take any chances, and that whole, sorry. Okay, we will. All right. I just believe that, yeah. Yeah, it just detracts from her company. Getting work done. My name. It's a good problem to have, but damn, it's nerve-wracking too. Oh God, said with stress. So yeah, let me know if I can assist you in expanding on it, so you don't feel so. No classes today, just laughter echoing around. Feels like time is dragging, but I don't mind. I can hear my friend in the background. No school. I guess I'm kind of taking the day off, hanging out with child's name. Probably won't get much done. Never even heard of it. Friend talking. Local school is in the football finals. It's possible. Yeah, I'm heading up. I had a conversation with him and he's being confrontational. I challenged him, saying, "Show me the evidence." In my mind, I suspect he's upset because I brought it up. I eventually laid it out plainly. If you're quitting, just do it without making things more complicated. I need assistance in getting things done. You walking in here is just another instance of blame shifting. He presumes the counselor is putting the blame on him, turning it into an argument. Now he's demanding a timeline, yes, a timeline and all the intricate details. He concocts tales in his mind, doubting the validity of what he's heard and refusing to trust me. When he initially inquired about it, he did have a point. However, he struggles to communicate with others. Depression exists on various levels. Just because someone doesn't contemplate self-harm doesn't negate their experience of depression. That's his method of self-diagnosis, a mix of factors contributing to his situation. He's heading in various directions, and when he returns home, I say, "Let's talk about how it's going." Everything needs to be wrapped up and organized. Keep me posted on your service. I know it's going to be cold, but I'll be fine. The VAR, voice-activated recorder, omitted much, making it hard to catch the friend's words. Additionally, the friend has a son struggling with heroin addiction who is entering rehab the next day. Some parts of the conversation seem to revolve around him rather than me. I just completed listening to the voice-activated recorder recordings from yesterday and today. She was discussing me with her friend, and thankfully, nothing negative was mentioned. This time around, everything seems to be in order. I might have psyched myself out by documenting what was said last week. Whether she's still in communication with him or not, whether she's involved with him or not, or whether she's contemplating a divorce or not, I can't alter these circumstances. They either are or they aren't, and I have no control over them. If it turns out she is, I'll eventually discover the truth and take appropriate action. Until then, I'll give her the opportunity to demonstrate that she's not. Yes, the discussion was about me, and the mentions of depression also pertained to my situation. She went through healing the partner after the affair, and is currently immersed in Not Just Friends. The timeline she provided me was condensed to 5 lines, detailing when they first met and subsequent encounters. I've translated that into 6 pages of detailed notes. As of D-Day plus 32 days. Sleep, 3 hours. Weight loss, 25 pounds in total. I find myself at an airport this morning. The weariness of constant speculation and pain has taken its toll, and I'm exhausted. This is an update from yesterday. I was too distressed during the day and too inebriated last night to document it. Discovered another falsehood. As part of enabling location services on her phone, I now also have access to her Google search history. On her first night in Boston, she repeatedly searched for his name in various ways. When I questioned her about missing him, she responded, "No, I'm just curious if his wife knows, etc. I don't miss him. I'm relieved it's over. I miss you." I then inquired about whether she had searched for him, to which she insisted she hadn't. I confronted her, asserting that she was lying, and she maintained her denial. I erupted in anger. I confronted her about her search history using explicit language. I emphasized that it wasn't the fact that she searched for him that angered me, but rather the dishonesty about it. She initially denied it, but later admitted, Now I do remember searching for him. I had forgotten. I vehemently argued that it was implausible to forget something from the previous night. I expressed frustration, telling her she doesn't grasp the impact of not admitting to even trivial matters. I questioned how I'm supposed to believe significant things she says when she can't own up to inconsequential issues. I suggested that perhaps it's time for us to consider splitting up. The unfortunate aspect is that her searching for information about him on Google implies she isn't actively communicating with him, but it's likely that she desires to. Today I conveyed to her that there should be no more independent searching for him. If she feels the need to do so, she should inform me, and we can address it together. She's once again being deceptive about what she just shared with you. She's well aware of how to reach him, except she knows that if she uses the email or phone you're monitoring, she'll get caught. Unfortunately, she now knows another way you can uncover her actions. Despite being out of town for one of the first times since she was supposed to meet him, her initial action is to Google other man and then claim she wasn't thinking about him. Mike, challenge her deception and inform her that, given her intense curiosity, the two of you will call other man's wife tonight to ensure she's aware. Question why it's acceptable for her to continue Googling and seeking information about him when it's supposed to be over, right? You're placing too much trust in her words and not paying attention to her actions or lack thereof. Her behavior doesn't exhibit any signs of addressing the 5 things you expressed fatigue over in your previous post. In my view, she was likely searching to find a way to communicate with him again without your knowledge. How does her Google search for other man align with her claims of thinking about and missing you? It's imperative that you consult with an attorney and present some tangible consequences to her promptly. Unfortunately, I believe nothing short of that will bring about the necessary change. In my opinion, I wouldn't support her curiosity to know what's happening with him in any way. My spouse genuinely wishes she had never been born and experiences physical discomfort at the mere sight of himself in the mirror. This sentiment is not contrived for my sake. I understand him better than he understands himself. I would find it deeply offensive if he had any remote concern about anything related to her. I did something I'm not proud of. I purchased a track phone and texted him, pretending to be her, informing him I have a different phone to keep it hidden from my husband. I inquired about his well-being, and he responded with a text tirade, expressing how he had jeopardized his marriage and wanting no further contact from her, me. He even threatened to contact her husband if she persisted. He immediately nervously called me, disclosing the text and sending me a copy. This incident indicates remorse to me. While I won't continue with the deceptive phone game, it did provide some relief to my lingering questions. I conveyed to her that I couldn't continue with our relationship. There wasn't much more I could articulate. I didn't fully accept the situation. Later that night, while we were conversing, or rather, I was expressing my frustration, she vomited. She's clearly grappling with intense emotions, though I can't precisely identify what they are. As a means of addressing her curiosity, I've decided to involve the other man's wife in the conversation with my wife. If my wife is genuinely interested in whether the other man's wife is aware, we can discover that together. I'll have my wife initiate the call. It's worth noting that she wasn't searching for contact information, but rather news stories. This could serve as a valuable test, and I'll take that into consideration. Just arrived home from the bar, a bit intoxicated. Usually, I keep this site hidden from my wife, but tonight I don't care. Had a session with the marriage counselor today. The therapist didn't hold back and confronted her lies. It was a powerful moment. I made it clear that the deceit has to end, or she'll lose me. The therapist urged her to take responsibility for her issues, stop deflecting, and quit making excuses. It brought her to tears multiple times. I've been noticing women checking me out lately, something I haven't experienced in years. Tonight, at the bar with my soccer group, I actively tried to connect with one of the women on the team, despite her husband being right there, seemingly unaware. My wife was at home. What am I doing? I think I might be testing if a revenge affair is possible. It's foolish, but it felt oddly satisfying. Why does something that feels good have to be so foolish? D-Day plus 38. Sleep back to normal weight, stabilized. I'm actually feeling hungry again. He reached out to her. I genuinely sense an improvement now. The truth has emerged as the morning call woke her up. It seems like the last deceptions have been laid bare. Although there's still a lingering concern about the affair, she also had a revelation about her conversations with her female friend. Her friend's marriage is in shambles, thanks to her husband being difficult, and she might be in an emotional affair. Misery loves company, and sharing misery begets more misery. My wife seems to understand now how detrimental it is for her to be so open with her friend. My wife has a dislike for reading, but she frequently reads Not Just Friends. She even requested me to install it on her phone so she could read it more regularly. Tonight, as I sat down for dinner, I glanced at her and sensed something was amiss. Suddenly, the thought struck me that I needed to inquire whether he had contacted her or if she had reached out to him. It had been over a week since I last asked. Something felt off. She looked at me and confessed, "I was waiting for the kids to finish dinner because I didn't know how you would react. But yes, it happened about an hour ago." She showed me his text, which turned out to be a blank message from his number to hers. She suggested it might have been a mistake, but I disagreed, asserting that he's just uncertain about whether it's acceptable to text her. She revealed that her initial reaction was, "Oh my God, no, I don't want this." She almost deleted it immediately, but then realized I would want to see it. She was initially excited about showing me something before I asked, but my question preempted her chance to do so. I understand that this might raise suspicions, especially since the kids were present at that time, and I've been known to react strongly when triggered. Despite my initial disbelief in premonitions, I find myself shocked at how accurate my intuition was. It's a bit unnerving. I responded to him from my phone with a concise and straightforward message, "Do not contact her again." I kept it brief without resorting to threats. I explained to her that he would likely attempt to reach out again, but the next time he might choose a method like email or LinkedIn, something she could easily delete. I suggested that she could earn bonus points if she showed me any future contact attempts from a platform that could be deleted. However, no bonus points were awarded for this incident since she had to inform me, and I would eventually discover it in phone records. She expressed a desire for those bonus points, hugged me, and reassured me of her love and commitment, expressing deep regret for causing me pain. She acknowledged that this is the worst thing she has ever done in her life. If he contacts her again, my follow-up message will be, "Hope you're ready for some phone calls from your family and friends." I'll then reach out to every friend and family member of his that I can find and inform them about his affair. Is that okay with you? I'll continue to stay vigilant in observing for any signs of a relapse. I anticipate maintaining this vigilance for quite a while. While I'm getting closer to considering that we might be in the process of reconciliation, I must clarify that as of today, I wouldn't definitively say that we are. I don't wear my ring, and I currently have no inclination to put it back on. It's evident that the text he sent her was no accident. He intentionally sent a blank message. I reached out to his wife again on Facebook last night. Despite never receiving a response from her, I want to keep her informed about his attempt to contact my wife. I've also sent her a Facebook friend request. Her Facebook profile has shown no activity since last June, despite multiple attempts, including calls, texts, and even sending a physical letter to her house. I've been unable to establish any contact. From what I can gather, she doesn't have a job and doesn't appear to have any identifiable family members based on Facebook comments. A few friends who commented on her posts share his last name. Her posts mainly feature her husband or her kids, and she seems to lack any discernible hobbies. While it's possible she may have missed the Facebook messages, she should have received the physical letter where I explicitly mentioned attempting to reach her through Facebook. No contact means exactly that. I strongly discourage her from sending any reply, regardless of its content. She initiated no contact on D-Day, and I responded from my phone. I anticipate that my message will only alter how he attempts to contact her in the future. I'm not the kind of person who struts around, cursing and making threats. I'm the type who tells you once what you need to do, and the next thing you know, you're waking up in a hospital. While I entertain thoughts of confronting him physically, the reality is that it's not feasible, given the 2,000 miles between us. If he contacts again, no threats will be issued. Instead, I'll inform every friend or family member of his about his actions. The number wasn't blocked initially because it didn't cross my mind. Additionally, I wanted to gauge her reaction when he did contact her. If it was through the phone, I could track it through phone records. If it was through email, it could potentially be hidden from me, as I check email but may not catch it if it's read and deleted before I investigate. His number is now blocked. A question arises. If a number is blocked and the blocked number sends a text, does it show up on the phone records? For context, I reside in the Midwest, while they live in the South. The affair took place during shared business trips, with the exception of one instance where he coordinated a business trip to my city. There's a possibility the letter was intercepted, but I'm uncertain. It's a work computer, and that's the reason I've been hesitant about using a keylogger. However, I do have access to and regularly check her computer and email. During the affair, he emailed her work address exclusively, never her personal email. They utilized LinkedIn, which gets forwarded to her work email, but the primary modes of communication were text messages and phone calls to her cell phone. While it's entirely possible for her to contact him without my knowledge, I'm not currently sensing that. I feel reassured that it's genuinely over. I'm alive and well. She has acknowledged a past emotional affair with someone I've known and harbored jealousy toward for years, due to their perceived closeness. As of now, it doesn't seem to involve anything asexual, more like a close friendship where she shared a lot and may have felt something more. Perhaps this previous experience played a role in her engaging in a real affair. She disclosed this information after a marriage counseling session and after delving into not just friends further. Importantly, she shared this when I wasn't questioning anything or harboring recent suspicions. Her motivation was to contribute to rebuilding trust in our relationship. This gesture means a great deal to me. In addressing the question of whether this friend is still someone she wants to remain in contact with as friends, I sincerely hope the answer to that is a firm no. As for defining the emotional affair, I'm still in the process of figuring it out. She mentioned that she didn't recognize it as an emotional affair until she read a book and had that realization. According to her, the emotional connection with him concluded about a year ago. I'm currently uncertain whether this situation calls for a no-contact approach with him or if it necessitates a focus on understanding and maintaining strong boundaries. Everything else is going well. Communication has improved significantly. She's still learning that honesty, even if it might cause some pain, is better than trying to protect me with lies that could hurt even more. We're currently in talks about whether I should use recovery software to retrieve her deleted text messages from her cell phone. She's supportive of me doing so if it helps rebuild trust, though I haven't decided if I want to know the exact words just yet. Her company's Christmas party is coming up on Friday. She's planning a special and intimate experience for me. D-Day pulls. 46 days. Today marks the same number of days that I've been aware of the affair as the affair itself lasted. It feels like a significant milestone. I had set a personal requirement for myself, stating that I wouldn't commit to reconciliation until the duration of my knowledge matched the duration of the affair. Now, I'm allowing myself to consider it, but I haven't made any commitments yet. I'm returning from my business trip today. I'm currently in an airport as I type this. I miss her. Last night we had a conversation where I asked her about her sexual history before we met. It's strange. I never inquired before because I used to believe her past was irrelevant. However, I've come to realize that her past is a part of who she is, and if she matters to me, then her past matters too. I shared this perspective with her, and she agreed. I now have a much clearer understanding of her previous husband, boyfriends, and those who were not quite boyfriends. I've learned that she has always been drawn to individuals with challenges she can help. I, on the other hand, don't fit that mold. I've never needed assistance. I was with her because I wanted to be, but I was okay without her. The other man was someone she felt she could help, as he had issues, and she had her own struggles with needing to be needed. Another question I asked was about his height. He's around 6'2", whereas I'm 5'11 and a half. Always wished I made it to 6'0". When she inquired why I wanted to know, I joked about figuring out where to punch a punching bag. She chuckled, but then she said something serious, that I should want to hit her. She's correct. No, I would never resort to violence against her. However, she holds just as much responsibility as he does. I wish it could all be on him, that he pursued and she merely submitted without wanting him. But the truth is, she is just as accountable. It was mutual, as much as that realization is unpleasant. Our relationship has been positive, and I believe the involvement with the other man is now behind us. However, certain aspects of the story still leave me with questions. On the positive side, I am aware of her previous emotional affair, and she openly shared the details. There are only minor aspects that I find uncertain. I initially planned to gift her a commitment to reconciliation for Christmas. The idea was to light a fire in the fireplace, retrieve the written story, go through it one last time, and then burn it. While the flames consumed the pages, I intended to express my desire for us and symbolize it by putting my ring back on. Christmas turned out to be challenging for me. I realized I'm not quite ready. Consequently, I didn't make the commitment, and the symbolic fire never ignited. As of now, I still do not wear a ring. We shared incredible intimacy on Christmas night. My sexual experiences have never been as fulfilling at any other point in my life. I wonder, will this newfound connection vanish the moment I fully commit to our marriage? Is it merely a means to regain my trust? I suppose the only way to truly understand is to make the commitment and observe what unfolds. I took some time away. Things are improving. I still occasionally check the VAR. Her discussions with her friend are becoming less critical over time. She does utilize her friend as an outlet for venting. The affair and emotional affair seem to be in the past, and she is actively investing in our relationship. Simultaneously, I've been focusing on personal growth. I'm striving to regain my confidence, wanting to restore my swagger and playful cockiness. I've taken charge in our marriage, making decisions and leading the way. Our intimate life has improved, feeling natural and fulfilling. I've shed 35 pounds since the affair, committing to a workout routine 4 days a week. I now weigh 195 pounds, and my abs are back in shape. I'm looking and feeling good, with other women taking notice. I've made significant progress, although there's still a long way to go, and I'm feeling positive about it. I apologize if I missed this, but is the other man married? Does his spouse, OBS, have any awareness of the situation? Truthfully, I don't know much about him. I've never had a clear view of the guy, only catching glimpses of a hand opening the door for my wife. The information I have is quite limited, mostly stemming from what my wife has shared, which is essentially nothing. For what it's worth, I'd rather not dwell on these details. If I find the need for information about him during the divorce proceedings, I'll explore available options at that time.